What's up, y'all? We have another Breaking Bad boxing preview and prediction. We have the women's world flyweight title on the line between champion Gabriela Fundora, 16-0, 8 of those wins coming by way of knockout, and challenger Alexis Kubicki. Alexis Kubicki, 13 wins, 1 loss, 2 of those coming by way of knockout. Alexis Kubicki is taking this fight on relatively short notice. Before we jump into the tape study and the breakdown, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Of course, I got my Cash App down there for you breadwinners as well. So with that being said, guys, let's jump into the tape study. Let's jump into the X's and O's. One thing I also want to note about Alexas Kubicki as well. She has never fought in the United States, according to her box rec, at least in her pro career. I didn't really look too deep into her amateur career, but she has fought in Colombia. She's fought in the Czech Republic, where she's from, and she's fought in Canada, where she hails now. So one thing to note, the champion is fighting in her home state of Indio, California. Let's jump into the tape study. One thing I do want to caveat about Cubecki, the challenger, and her fight I found against Sylvia Duran is this fight is from, shout out to Julio Garcia's YouTube channel for having a few of her fights on that I was able to access easily. Make sure to go give him a like if you want to check out the tape for yourself. I could really only watch about 20 to 25% of this fight because it was filmed with the top rope in the way, really, of the upper halves of the women's body. But this is what I could take away from what I did see and what I did see clipping through the ropes. Cubecki, what I could see the whole fight, solid base, as I could see. For the first 4 rounds, she seemed to fight behind a long and disciplined jab. She followed up with the 2 that I perceived to land multiple times. And searching Cubecki's Instagram, you saw on her highlights and a few of the things she was tagged in that the 2 did land quite a few times from videos you see on her Instagram. So make sure you try to put 2 and 2 together with her Instagram as well. After round 4, she seemed to completely abandon the long range game and just really wanted to stand and trade. The left hook followed by the 2 seemed to hurt and stumble Duran, and I also was able to confirm that via Instagram on her highlight page. That's really all I could find for this fight. Again, it was hard to really gather all of the tapes just to how it was shot. That's not Julio's fault. He also notes that in the description. Now, the next fight against Isabel Milan, which was also on Julio's YouTube channel, this was filmed way better. We could see the whole fight, so I'm really appreciative. Once again, thank you, Julio Garcia, if you're seeing this, or if you get sent to his channel, please give him a like. With that being said, her left hooks on the inside and her left to the body and the head were really working well against Isabel Milan. She did look good going first and third. She had very offensive limited head movement. When she was coming in, she wasn't moving her head off a line whatsoever. She was easily her most comfortable. Cubecki is most comfortable when her opponents are held against the ropes. She can tee off combinations and tee off rips to the body. Milan herself was landing a lot of body shots on Cubecki. Left hook to the body, shovel hook to the body. Really seemed to be landing at will. The one thing about Cubecki is she has 2 defensive mechanisms. She either goes first and third, attempting to pull you off the counter, or she tries to be Willie Pepper, Sweet Pea, and she tries to sit there and try to move her head and her upper body in like a Matrix Neo kind of form and fashion, but she does it with low guard and she turns none of that defense into offense. So that's definitely something to note when it comes to Gabriela Fundora. I will say Cubecki has good volume and really good mental pressure. Milan, again, was having success with the left to the body, overhand rights, uppercuts on the inside. The combo that I really like, though, from Cubecki in this fight against Milan, I believe it was in round 4. She dips off to the left, lands a left hook, whether it was up top or to the body, and whips a long right hand off of it. You saw it in round 4, and then you saw her kind of start to build after that. She had a habit of smothering her own work, and I don't know what I wrote for my note there, so I'm just going to pass over that note. But she does have a habit of smothering her own work. Sorry for my crappy handwriting, y'all. Versus Linda Contreras, which is a loss on her record. Linda Contreras, man, Cubecki was throwing some looping shots. Horrible habit of it. It looked like she was almost coming in for a hug. Alexis was catching Cubecki every time she was walking in with 0 feints or 0 setups with the left hand. I really thought Cubecki got beat up pretty good in rounds 1 and 2. She kept getting countered with the left of her own. Linda had a lot of success on the inside, landing body shots as Alexis was pulling out straight. But we did see a slight adjustment by Cubecki. After round 3 in a mid-fight adjustment, she went from fighting on the inside specifically to trying to fight behind a jab and a long-range, mid-range game rounds 3 and 4, which I thought she had a lot of success rounds 3 and 4, and even round 5, which could have possibly been a swing round fighting for the long and mid-range. So we saw some really mid-fight adjustments. That's really all the positives I have to say about Cubecki in this fight. She got her mouthpiece knocked out in round 6 by a hard right hand from Linda Contreras. She had a tough time turning her offense into defense, and even going from offense to defense, she really only could fight on those 2 planes. So with that being said here, I also found Alif Far highlights, which when she was holding Alif Far against the ropes, good body work, good shovel hook to the body, and she was landing up top really well, letting her hands go when she had Alif to the ropes. Sorry if I'm killing that name pronunciation, y'all. My apologies. So what do I like about Cubecki? When she jabs early in the fight, and I like that she goes up top into the bottom. Good base, solid cardio, really solid mental pressure. When she is fighting defensively, I do like her head and upper body movement when she does that second form of defense I was talking about where she plants her feet. I just don't love how low her hands are. She has a little bit of pop, as we saw in some of her fights. Not a whole lot, but just enough to seem to keep opponents honest. She unleashes on opponents when she has them against the ropes. Really good left hook. And her pull counter is okay. What do I dislike against her? She struggles on the inside. She struggles to turn her offense into defense and vice versa. She's really vulnerable to the left and vulnerable to the body. She smothers her own work. She lacks the inside game. She's one-dimensional. She has zero feints and zero setups. So let's talk about the champ, Gabriela Fundora. The champion, Gabriela Fundora. I watched her fight against Daniela Aceno, which did go 10 rounds, but quite frankly, rounds 9 and 10, you could have stopped it at any moment, especially in the end of round 8. Great ring control from the champ, consistently cutting off the ring from the word go. She was getting caught a few times with Aceno's overhand left when she would exchange because she would drop her own right hand. She carries her base well, but she carries her base extremely well with her jab. Really well-schooled jab. She got good reads off of Aceno's overhand left and started countering with the left to the body. She kept forcing Aceno to her left, setting it up with her right hand, jabbing to the right hand, walking into the right hand, and throwing sweeping right hand shots. What I love about Gabriela Fundora is I think she's a very efficient puncher. She doesn't throw a lot of body volume, which I don't love about her, but when she does throw to the body, it's efficient. And she doesn't throw out a lot of volume in general, but she walks you forward, always stays on the front foot, and efficiently breaks you down. She's systematic with her approach. I love her frame body shot. She'll frame off her long jab, holding it on your shoulder, and whip a left hook to the body. We saw that against Aceno a few times here. She got caught with left hooks to the body from Aceno when she was fighting on the inside, but also following up with her own hooks to the body on Aceno. Aceno is tough as hell, man. You could tell that Fondora was a little bit staggered that she couldn't get her out of there. And in rounds 8, 9, and 10, she started throwing the front right hand with spiteful intentions, sweeping Aceno. The fact that her husband in her corner didn't want to stop this fight was a little bit interesting to me, but I really thought it started to show that Gabriela Fundora is really growing into her power. Not once in this fight did Fondora look checked out. Did she look gassed? Did she even, I don't want to say frustrated. She just seemed to be surprised that she couldn't get her out of there. Her stop and start's also incredible. She can stop on a dime, pull you into a counter, and throw off of it. Fondora versus Cruz. We saw a nice little battle in someone almost as tall as Fondora and someone with good length and reach. Cruz was giving her some issues in the early round. The upper body and the jankiness of Cruz, like I said, was giving Fondora a little bit of pause early. She couldn't seem to find her read with her jab and her long right. Fondora has really good hand fighting and parrying. Midway through round 2, I feel like Fondora started to punch with Cruz. And when she started to punch with Cruz, instead of trying to probe the 2 and 4s or 1 and 3s, as I call it, odds and evens, she found a lot of success. Fondora, as we know, just really being a Fondora, I think, with her stature, bad habit of standing up straight, exiting in straight lines, and doesn't have great head movement. She doesn't punch while moving. She seems to have to be planted, Fondora does, when she wants to punch. But every round, she seemed to be stepping on Cruz's foot, getting closer. The jabs and the straight hands started to land more at will. For the first 4 rounds, Cruz was having success and the sweeping left. Cruz was having success with the straight rights and the sweeping lefts. It tagged Fondora a few times, and it really showed on her face. But after that, I felt like the success with Cruz kind of stopped after the first 4 rounds. We saw a few glimpses and moments around 6, but I felt like it started going downhill for Fondora for her. Things really started going downhill, as I stated, after round 6. Cruz seemed to be gassed, and the mental pressure of Fondora was breaking her. Her face was swelled up and bloody. It was just a great performance, great systematical breakdown against Cruz. I really liked what she did. The finishing sequence, she pawed with the jabs. When Cruz came in, she punched with the same side of the jab, the right hand, with a sharp right hook, which plastered Cruz. And then once Cruz turned her body, she just unloaded on a bent over, turned over Cruz. So I really appreciated this finishing sequence and the killer instinct by Gabriela Fundora in the 10th round. Held her shape incredibly well here. I really like this performance. Fondora versus Badillo. Badillo wanted to tie up Fondora, and every time she would tie her up, Fondora would punish her to the body, crisp combinations to the body. This is the best I've seen Fondora sweeping left. Badillo would hold her feet and just try to fight defensively behind a high guard, utilizing that head and upper body jankiness, the torso movement. We're going to see that with Cubecki. The difference is Cubecki drops her hand when she does it. And early Fondora seemed to be trying to punch over Badia, missing some of those shots. But she adjusted after round 3 and started punching under Badia, punching uppercuts, ripping shots to the body, under through the guard when she was doing that jankiness head movement and holding her body and holding her feet. Fondora really started shortening up her shots after round 4 here, making mid-fight adjustments. She punched at so many different heights, man. She literally had to punch Badia, who was literally crouched and bent over at multiple times of this fight, making her punch from down to 3 feet, up at 6 feet. It was absolutely incredible. Well, 5 feet, since, Badia is definitely not 6 foot, but you guys get what I'm saying. And she never once crowded her work in this fight. It was only Badia that was initiating the clinches. So what is there to like about the champion, and what do I perceive that I would like to see get better? Her straight shots are incredible. The champion's powerful volume. Very efficient with it. I shouldn't say volume. She's comes forward with mental pressure to try to break you, and she's efficient with her shots. So it probably seems like she has higher volume than she does, but she just throws very efficiently. She knows how to utilize her range. Her inside fighting is great, especially for her reach. Great pressure, great killer instinct. Sets up her left hand with her right hand, forces oppositions into her left hand with her feet and also with her sweeping rights. Her cardio checks out. She's a spiteful puncher, man. And I love her stop and start. I absolutely love her stop and start, which you usually see on shorter armed fighters and shorter framed fighters. But Fondora does it incredibly well for a longer frame fighter. What would I like to see the champ improve on? Not that my keyboard warrior ass really can tell her shit. I'd like to see her throw more body punches, especially the straight right to the body. Straight right, straight left to the body is absolutely money. She just doesn't throw it enough. She lacks head movement, limited back foot fighting, but maybe we haven't seen her on the back foot enough. She stands straight up, high chin, exits into straight lines, and she's hittable, but we haven't really seen her or anyone crack that egg yet. So how do I see this fight going? So I think for the first 4 rounds, I think the jankiness, the movement, the way that Cubecki likes to pull and counter, and then also, like I say, try to be Willie, tries to be Sweet Pea and Willie Pep. I think it's going to cause Fondora a little bit issues finding range. But I think after round 4, I think it's going to be downhill from there. I think she's going to start punching over that jankiness. I think Cubecki's willingness to stand in a firefight is going to be her own self-doing. She likes to lean over her back foot when she's pulling, and she does it with her hands down. And I think a straight shot's eventually going to land. I love Gabriela Fundora rounds 6 through 10 plus 155 on FanDuel. Gabriela Fundora rounds 6 through 10 plus 155. Like I said, I think Cubecki's going to give her some early fits and maybe not trouble, but just be a little bit hard to hit earlier in the stages of the fight. But after round 4, I think it's all downhill from there. I think Cubecki is tough. I think she's tough enough, willing to lack it out at least until round 6. But I think it's a downhill motion there. I see Gabriela Fundora getting it done around round 8, round 9. Give me Gabriela Fundora plus 155 on FanDuel round 6 through 10 all day. The line by knockout is minus 290. You guys know here at Breaking Bad Boxing, I'll never give out a line that huge, but it is a great parlay piece, and I feel very safe about it. Once again, Fondora plus 155, 6 through 10 FanDuel. Let's see you guys at the window. With that being said, y'all, love, peace, chicken, grease.